Straight ahead on this week's episode of New Mexico State Sports Weekly. We sit down with head men's basketball coach Marvin Menzies to break down his team's wins last week against Texas Southern and UC Irvine. We also discuss the upcoming WAC schedule, which starts this Saturday versus UMKC. Head women's basketball coach Mark Trakh will join us in the studio to fill us in on his team's recent success, which includes 7 wins in their last 8 games. Coach Trakh will also look ahead to the WAC opener in Kansas City. And we finish off the show with assistant swimming and diving coach Rachel Judge. Her team is coming off a meet last week in Tucson, Arizona. It's our first show of 2015, and we're glad you've joined us. This is New Mexico State Sports Weekly. Happy New Year and welcome to New Mexico State Sports Weekly. I'm your host, Adam Young. Your Aggie men's basketball team is coming off a great week with impressive wins over Texas Southern and UC Irvine inside the Pan American Center. The wins gave the Aggies 7 for the season as they get ready for WAC play, which starts this week. Joining me now is the head coach, Marvin Menzies. Coach, a 2-0 week, impressive wins over Texas Southern and UC Irvine. What impressed you most last week?
Winning. Yeah, it was one of those kind of games where you don't want to tell the fellas, guys, this is a must win.
Yeah.
But it really was. The coaching staff felt that way. We felt like, man, if we're going to have the opportunity to realize some of our goals, of winning the WAC and the WAC tournament, then we got to be able to win these kind of games.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a true test of at least from a coaching perspective of,
mm-hmm.
Can we still compete at the level that we need to win the conference, and so thank God we pulled those out. So I feel a little better.
Ian Baker, Mr. Clutch, big shots in both games. What makes him so good down the stretch?
Well, before we go there, I said this on the radio, so I think I might as well make it official now that Ian is my son, and we hadn't let that out of the bag because we just didn't want people worrying about the coach something, but no, Ian is him and I joked about it. I said, he's such a cool demeanor, Now, it works well on offense, but sometimes you got to, step it up a notch
mm-hmm.
with the intensity and, on defense. But I think that his personality, he's not too high with the highs, not too low with the lows type
mm-hmm.
of, disposition just really makes him that cool, calm, collected guy that you want taking that shot towards the end of the games, and obviously he's been successful at it here the last 3 games.
Last 3 games decided by 6 points. Overall, have you been impressed by your team's execution late?
I have. We've talked a lot about winning time. It's something that we always stress every season. It goes all the way back to when John McMullen was here with me as my mm-hmm. former boss at Santa Monica College, Hall of Fame coach out of California, and he instilled that in me as a young coach that whatever happens during the game, those last 4 minutes is winning time, and that's when you got to really get stops and you got to make sure that every shot is a high percentage shot for the team. Take care of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
We had the one turnover where Ian threw it to Remy at the top right after a timeout, and that wasn't good. But obviously, the defensive end was where you can win games
mm-hmm.
late, and I think they had one score. It was that 3-pointer in the last 4.5, 5 minutes.
Tough shot too.
Yeah, it was a real tough shot. So we did our job defensively, which enabled us to even have a mistake offensively and still come out victorious.
A lot of younger guys have stepped up in non-conference play, but is it safe to say nobody's been better than Pascal Siakam?
Very safe, yeah. He's and he's even fighting through some injuries. I don't want to call them injuries. Through some bumps and bruises.
Mm-hmm.
We shut him down for our last game against Highlands just because he basically, his back's a little sore, his knees got, we're a little bumped. He got a bump and bruise on his knee, twisted his ankle a little bit in practice, and we just decided to just hey, we're gonna give you as much rest as possible
mm-hmm.
till we get ready for Saturday's game.
When we return, Coach and I will look ahead to his team's start into conference play as UMKC visits Las Cruces this Saturday for the Aggies WAC opener. Stay tuned. This is New Mexico State Sports Weekly.
in the interim, it's about the guys that can walk on to the floor and play the game that night, and that's where all our focus has been. There's a whole different component of the program that's handling rehab, and those guys are handling that part. I'm handling the teaching part, and when they give me the word that those guys are full bore go to go, we'll be ready. But when we get past that point, I think that's when you can make some significant strides, especially offensively.
With the non-conference season all wrapped up, your Aggie men's basketball team starts their WAC schedule in Las Cruces this Saturday against UMKC. We are joined again by the head coach, Marvin Menzies. The Kangaroos coach on Saturday.
Yep.
They picked up a nice non-conference win against Missouri early in the year. How challenging will this game be?
It'll be very challenging just because it's everybody's 0-0. So everyone has a new lease on life. You don't have anybody just making headlines in the WAC across the nation. So I think the best team might be at 500 or a game over 500. So you're going to have guys that come in with a renewed sense of urgency, and thank God we're playing that first game at home. I think that'll give us a boost and have a comfort level for us. But so you got to protect the house first and foremost. And UMKC they're a lot like us in the sense that they got some young guys that are very talented. They got a few returners that will understand what it is to compete in the conference. So, and they've also like us in the non-conference, they've had to go out and play guarantee games and make their athletic departments money, and so they've taken some on the chin as well. So, those are valuable experiences that hopefully prepare you going forward like us. So I'm glad we're at home, and I think our guys will be ready to play and excited, and I think we match up well with them.
You faced a really tough non-conference schedule. Will we see the benefit of that early on?
I think so. Typically we have. We've been able to get out to a pretty good start in conference, and even when we dropped one or two early, we continue to learn from those lessons and have an opportunity to go out and really compete throughout the conference. I'd really like to obviously one of our goals is to win the regular season. So that's still very much a goal that's in front of us that we can still achieve, but we got to take care of the house first. That's first and foremost.
You were picked to win the WAC once again for the 4th straight season. Any pressure there because of that?
I don't think so. Actually, I think the fact that it is the 4th time, I think you have a better understanding now for at least the players that have been here. Ian and Trayvon, Remy, DK, guys that know that doesn't mean a whole lot if you don't go and take care of business. You're getting everybody's best shot. We talk about that all the time, and so, but to hear it, and for me as a coach to say, hey guys, they're going to bring it. They really want you because of this, that, and the other. We've got to be on point. We got to do this. We got to do that. Doesn't really mean a lot until you lose. Then all of a sudden it's like, see, told you. So, but now they've experienced it. So I think they'll go out and have the type of energy that's necessary to start a game.
Your team is playing well, and you're still without Mullings, Bular, and Apawe. What's the status of those guys? When can we see them come back?
Well, I'm anticipating from today, Thursday, it'll probably be 2 weeks is what I'm guessing that we can have them back, but maybe a little bit earlier, a week and a half. But I'm right now I'm projecting that it's probably going to be a couple weeks before we get them. At least when I say I'm talking about Tanvir and Chile. The Mullins piece is probably a little bit longer, just based on the medical feedback.
How exciting is that when you get those guys back?
You know what? It's strange. I know this is going to sound crazy, but Adam, I haven't really thought about it because you're immersed in getting these guys better that you're coaching that are playing right now. And you have to say, hey, I don't know when those guys are coming back. That's what the doc said, but I also heard 4 weeks, which is now we're at 6 weeks. And sometimes, the doctors can't control how the body heals and so on and so forth. I mean, we can do everything we can from a rehab and a therapy standpoint, but I'm not going to bring them back before they're ready. I'm going to bring them back when they're ready to contribute and be, actually back to true form. You don't want to bring them in and then have them struggle or get re-injured. So with that being said, it's not as exciting as you may think because all my mindset right now is just on the guys that are playing.
Be sure to come out to the Pan American Center this Saturday when the Aggies tip off in their first conference game against UMKC. Tip is set for 7 p.m. Coach, thanks for your time. Talk to you next week.
You got it, Adam.
When we return, head women's basketball coach Mark Trakh will join me in the studio. We'll recap his team's 6-win December. Stay with us. This is New Mexico State Sports Weekly. UNM State's women's basketball team racked up 3 wins over the holiday season, including 2 more last week to improve their record to 7-6 on the season. After an 0-5 start to the campaign, the Aggies have now won 7 of their previous 8 games. Joining me now is head women's basketball coach Mark Trakh. Coach, a 2-0 record for your team last week, including that first road win at Southern Utah. Still pleased with your team's direction?
Yeah, the win at Southern Utah was big. They were 7-2 coming in, and they had big wins against UNLV and against Boise State at home. So it was the first home loss for them, and the kids played really, really well, shot the ball well. Zaire Williams, made 8 of 9 threes, had 20 points in the first half. So I was very proud of the kids. We played well and got that first true road win, and we're looking forward to conference season now. Getting
that first road win, was that a big step for your program?
Yeah, especially against a good team. You beat a good team on the road in a place that's very, very difficult to play. That's a big step in the right direction, especially for a team this young. We really don't have any seniors on the team, 3 juniors. The rest of the kids are freshmen and sophomores, so that's big. They're growing up quick. The sophomores on our team have been a lot of them have been playing a ton of minutes for the last 2 years. So I think we're maturing and we're growing up, and we're starting to understand what it takes to win on this level.
You've won 7 of 8 now. What changed from the first 5 games to the previous 8?
Well, it's like when we lost our 5th straight, and we should have beaten Weber State. That's a game that we had a 13-point lead with 3.5 minutes to go in the game, and we didn't handle their press well at the end. But what changes, I'm sitting at the end of the bench, during the waning seconds of the Cal State Fulton loss, and I just said, this isn't working. We've got to change the system a bit. So we started teaching multiple defenses, multiple zone defenses, and our man, and we started pressing. We have 2 or 3 presses now, trying to keep teams from trying to keep them off balance. And it's been very successful, and the kids have really, really bought into it. They love to play that 3-2 zone. They really, really get after it. But we played some pretty good man too against Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. We had to play man majority of the second half, and we played very, very well against a very athletic, skilled team.
7-6 now heading into conference season. When you look at the big picture and how this season has gone so far, are you happy with that record?
Yeah, considering how young we are, and considering, we were counting on getting one of the best players on the West Coast back for this year, for his senior year, and you lose a kid to an academic casualty, and now you're like, you got to scramble, get a point guard late, which we did of Shanice Davis, and Shanice has been playing great. She's been a godsend. And, to be 7-6 now, especially after going 0-5, although the 0-5 is deceptive because all those games except for Boise State were very close. To be 7-6 now and have a winning record going into conference, I think that's really, really big. Don't forget, if we have any kind of success this year, we get everybody back. Plus, we get bigs next year and another great guard out of California, a big 6-foot guard. So I think, this is the time now that we start turning it. And, this is our 4th year, and hopefully in our 4th and 5th years, we can start making some noise.
After the break, Coach and I will look ahead to his team's upcoming start in WAC play. This is New Mexico State Sports Weekly. Your Aggie women's basketball team is about to enter their conference schedule, kicking off the WAC season with an away game against Kansas City on Saturday. Head coach Mark Trakh is with me in studio. Coach, you go to KC for the opening of WAC play. Is this like the start of a new season?
Yeah, it really is. You break a season down into 3 parts. There's the non-conference season, then there's the conference season, and then you've got postseason, which hopefully will include NC2A tournament and, of course, the WAC tournament. But yeah, this is starting new. The stats all start new. It's a time to get excited and a time to see how far we've progressed.
What kind of challenges can UMKC pose on Saturday?
Yeah, I think they're very well coached. I think they're better than their record right now. I think their record's deceptive, but they play really, really hard. They get up and down the floor. I think, and they're very, very tough to beat. at home. So it's going to be a challenge for our kids. It's a rough trip. It's a long trip. So we're going to see if they stay focused and they're ready to win their second game on the road.
Building on that, what does it take to win on the road, especially in conference play?
Focus. You've got to be focused. You got to understand it's a business trip. When we were so young last year, when we had to play all those freshmen, they're thinking it's an extension of AAU. We're going on a trip, and the game's a sidelight. We're going to have fun and stay up, and that's part of maturing, understanding that, hey, this is D1 basketball. We're going on a business trip. We're not going for fun, so you can take a plane ride somewhere. We're going to win a basketball game. And I think the year that we've had the freshmen, we were predominantly freshmen last year to sophomores, I think they've grown up and they understood that, hey, this is serious. This is D1 basketball. We got to bring it every night or anybody can beat us.
Have you been able to gauge the conference so far through the first 2 months, or is it too early to tell who will challenge for the WAC title?
Well, based on a non-conference, I think the best team is Bakersfield. They have the best record. Although they lost to San Luis Obispo the other night. They lost by 5 or 6 points. But based on the they went to Arizona. They won at Arizona. They beat Hawaii. They've got a lot of good wins. They've got a great RPI, I think somewhere around 83 right now. So they're the team to beat. Texas Pan American is like 5-7 or 5-8, but they beat New Mexico. They played Texas A&M to a 2-point game. They played Texas Tech to an 8-point game. So they've got some quality losses, if there is such thing as quality loss. So I think those two teams are going to be really good. And Utah Valley's got a big kid that we've had a hard time matching up with. So I think it's going to be very, very competitive. I think I told the kids we can win every game, or we can lose every game. Everybody can beat everybody in this conference. So it's going to be who's prepared and who brings it night after night.
What will it take to come away with the conference title in March?
It's just our kids going to continue. We can't take a step backwards. We got to continue to mature, continue to understand how hard you have to work in practice, how focused, how seriously you got to take the scouting report. These are all things we're improving at. We're still not where we should be. But I think last year some of our kids just kind of played by the seat of their pants and didn't understand that it's a system. It's a scouting report. You got to follow the scout, and I think that's a big difference. And you say, but we got to continue to get better in that way. And I think we have 3 juniors now, and like I said, the sophomores have matured. I think we're headed in that right direction. Be
sure to log on to nmstatesports.com to keep up with your Aggies as they enter into conference play against Kansas City on Saturday. Coach, best of luck this weekend.
Thank you, Adam.
When we come back, assistant swimming and diving coach Rachel Judge will join us in the studio to catch us up on their recent meet. Don't go anywhere. This is New Mexico State Sports Weekly. The NM State swimming and diving team opened up 2015 with a meet last week in Tucson, Arizona. The Aggies faced some tough competition and received strong performances from numerous individuals. Here to talk about the meet is assistant coach Rachel Judge. Coach, your thoughts on your meet in Tucson last week?
Tucson's a really difficult meet for us to go to. U of A and Mizzou were there this year, and they're both top 10 in the nation, and they have some really tough competition. So for our girls, it's good for them to go and get an opportunity to race people who are that top quality swimmer for Division I. And our girls had been training. The goal of December is to train for WAC. We've got our biggest meet of the year is coming up in 2 months, and so this was really about all of their training. So to get up and race hard was a difficult thing for them to do. We had a lot of the girls that were struggling, but to have them go, our 200s of stroke were better. Some of our distance swimmers had better performances. We didn't have a lot of speed. So that's a tough meet to come off of for the weekend, but the girls all know in mind that they did the training they needed and that they are starting this week off right. So
you mentioned the strong field with Mizzou and Arizona. Was that the strongest field you've seen all year?
That was definitely the strongest field we've seen all year. U of A is always the strongest meet that we go to with Pac-12 and SEC performances. Oregon State is also there, NAU, and us. And so with Air Force was there for diving. Our divers dove extremely well this weekend for the conditions. I don't know if you've ever tried to be outside at a pool. It was 32 degrees. Oof. And our divers, they performed well under pressure, and Lauren Rifle probably had the top performances of the meet. So,
which individuals have been really good as of late?
Daracha Leonard and Cassandra Rupp, they're both juniors. Cassandra's a captain of our team this year. She really at UNLV, our invite before break, before Christmas, She went best times. She's one of the top WAC contenders on our team. And Jiracha Leonard was back-to-back WAC Swimmer of the Week. And she broke our school record in the 100 fly and the 200 fly over break at that meet. And so we're looking forward to big things from both of them. Lauren Rifle, our diver, she's also a junior. She came in second and fourth at this meet over the weekend. And this year she's been diving better than ever. So that'll be fun to watch at WAC as well.
Next up is at Idaho. Your preview of that one?
Yeah, so Idaho is, it should be a good meet. We go and we swim at, we don't swim at altitude. Every other meet we've swam this year, we've had some challenges with altitude. Swimming at 7,000 feet is a difficult thing for the girls to do. They swim and they really feel the effects of the environment that they're in. And so Idaho, we're going up there next Tuesday. We race on Wednesday, come back Thursday, and the girls will start school that day as well. It should be good. They're always the top three in the WAC. They came in second last year, and they're a great team. They've got a lot of depth, and so it should be a pretty good matchup.
Come out to the Aquatic Center January 30th and 31st when rival UNM comes to Las Cruces. Coach, good luck the rest of the month.
Thank you very much.
If you missed any part of today's show, check us out on YouTube, and also be sure to stay up to speed on social media by liking New Mexico State Athletics on Facebook and following us on Twitter. That will do it for this week's installment of New Mexico State Sports Weekly. I'm Adam Young saying thank you for watching, and go Aggies.